Hello. So for this one, what we're gonna do is just do a off-the-cuff, unscripted how to play Neopets Battledome trading card game featuring the Starry Akara starter deck. So I'm just giving a quick look at the back here. This is the deck contents. Hopefully it's not super blurry, but it looks like it is pretty blurry. That's unfortunate. Yeah, the biggest thing to note is that almost all of the cards, except for the code stones, are a single copy. So it was kind of an interesting design choice in my opinion, but the starter decks are very, very simple, very, very straightforward. So let's just go over the card types. This is on the back of the playmat, the paper playmat that is included. So it has an overview and the main draw, the main attraction is the Neopet. So as you can see, we have the Kachik here, and that is the example. So we have the name, Kachik, we have the HP, 8, and at the bottom we have the battling stats. So the 3 in the red is the attack, so that's how many attack dice you'll roll, or dice you'll roll for the attack. And then blue is the shield icon, it's the defense, so how many dice you're going to roll for defense. And then the yellow boots is your agility. And agility plays a part in the battle phase when we determine how many dice, if any, we're going to reroll. So yeah, just reading this real quick. So hit points is your Neopet's health. When your opponent's Neopet takes damage equal to their hit points, you win the battle. Attack. This number represents the amount of dice rolled when attacking your opponent's Neopet. Defense. This number represents the amount of dice rolled when defending against your opponent's Neopet's attack. Agility. This number represents your agility. If your agility is higher than your opponent's, you are allowed to re-roll your attack or defense dice up to the difference between both Neopets' agility. And attack, defense, and agility have a maximum value of 10. So just to explain agility, let's say, for example, this Kachik is attacking this Akara. So this Kachik will roll 3 dice, and this Akara will roll 2 dice. And then after we roll the attacking and defending dice, we'll take a look at the agility. And the Kachik has 5 and the Akara has 1. So the defender has 1 higher agility than the attacker. So the defender, if they want to, they can re-roll one of their 2 dice. That is what that means. That is how you determine agility re-rolls. And then the next main attraction, we have painting your pets. So in order to paint your pet, you'll need a starry paintbrush for this example, for turning the Akara into the starry version, which you get in the deck because that is the namesake card in the deck. So paintbrush is a card that goes inside of your deck. When you play a paintbrush, your Neopet transforms. Search your rainbow pool for the matching Neopet, place your active Neopet into the rainbow pool, and place the painted Neopet into play, replacing your basic Neopet and keeping all equipment and code stones and damage, notably. Your pet does not heal when you paint it. So going over the Starry Akara, he's got 10 HP from 8, so it's a stat boost there. And then we go from 3 attack for the red version to 2 attack, and then 2 defense on the red one to 4 defense, and then 6 agility on the red version to 7 agility on the starry one. So painted pets are overall get more stats, and then sometimes they get an extra ability, which makes gameplay a little bit more interesting. It had some terms in here, which we'll go over shortly. And then just taking a look at the other card types. Let's fold this a little bit so we can bring it closer. So code stones are way up over in the top left here. It's a very basic card that says the name of the card followed by code stone right underneath, and then it'll have 1 icon on the bottom, either a red attack, a blue defense, or a yellow agility. And then to attach a code stone, you just slide it under your Neopet, like this example here. So this one will have, this yellow alert will now have 4 attack. Moving on, we have legends. When you play a legend, immediately complete all actions on the card and then send it to your discard. Legends also include a team icon, which can be referenced in card effects. And the team icon is this one in the top right corner. So again, it has a 1 here, which is referring referencing the level requirement in order to play the card. And that is directly correlated with how many Codestones your Neopet has attached. So in this example, Combat Defender is a level 1 requirement card, so you need at least one Codestone attached to your pet in order to play this. And then his effect is very simple here. Draw 2 cards from your deck. Fairies. Let's zoom in a little bit here. So fairies, when you play a fairy, they remain in play until the end of the round. You may only have one fairy in play at a time. To play a fairy while there is already a fairy in play, you must first avoid the active fairy and then play the new fairy. When a fairy leaves the Battledome, send it to the void. So, what does that mean? That has some additional terms that we'll go over shortly. Soup Fairy is the name of this one, has fairy underneath, and then notably, fairies do not have a level requirement. So if you do not have any Codestones attached to your Neopet, you can still play a fairy, which is very nice. And then the effect on Soup Fairy here, once per turn during your draw phase or preparation phase, if you have 6 or less cards in your inventory, you may draw 1 card from your deck. Next up, card type, we have, let's pull that a little bit more again, we have equipment. So you may have up to 3 equipment equipped to your Neopet at any time. To play an equipment while there is already 3 equipment in play, you first send an active equipment to your discard and then play in the new equipment. So taking a look at this one again, so we have the name followed by equipment underneath and then a level requirement. So this one is level 2, so you need at least 2 Codestones attached to your Neopet. And then the effect of this one continually is you gain +1 attack. Next up we have potions. When you play a potion, immediately complete all effects on the card and then send it to your discard. So again, we have the name followed by potion, so the card type, and then the level requirement. In this case, the Ubiki Berry Ubiki Berry Elixir is a level 1 requirement, so you need at least level 1 Codestone attached to your pet. And this one says roll 1 die. On a success, your Neopet heals 2 damage. So we'll go over dice rolling in terms shortly as well. So last card type in Neopets Battledome TCG is food. When you play a food, immediately complete all effects on the card and then send it to the void. Food does not count as a card played and can be played at any time in any phase unless the card states otherwise. So we have card name, hot dog, underneath food, level requirement of 1, and then card effect. Draw 1 card from your deck. Very neat, very simple. So overall, we have Neopets, paintbrushes, advanced Neopets, also known as the painted pets. We have Codestones, legends, fairies, equipment, potions, and food. So there are quite a few card types. Now that you look at it, and let's go over the rules. How do we actually play? So, in Neopets Battledome trading card game, you will train your Neopet using Codestones, prepare them for battle with powerful equipment, enlist the aid of powerful fairies and legends from throughout Neopia, and enter the Battledome in hopes to become the champion. Deck construction. You need a 50-card deck made up of a combination of Codestones, equipment, food, fairies, legends, paintbrushes, and potions. Decks can contain no more than 2 copies of any equipment, food, legends, paintbrushes, and potions. They may contain no more than 1 copy of any fairy and may contain any number of Codestones. You can have a Neopet deck of up to 5 different Neopets. All must be different species, and a rainbow pool with up to 10 different rainbow pool Neopets. Up to 10 6-sided dice will be required for battle. And so we get into gameplay, but very quickly, let us... Yeah, I guess now is a decent time to unfold the playmat so we can actually have a look at what we have. So on the playmat, we have nifty zones. So we have top left, we have round results, and then we have a spot for a fairy, spot for your active Neopet, equipment 1, 2, 3, Codestones underneath the Neopet, the void zone, the discard, your deck, the play area with handy reference for the steps of the turn, your Neopet deck, and your rainbow pool. So let's see what the Stariakara deck has for us. So we have 1, 2, 3 Neopets. And these are your basic Neopets, and you will keep these face down in your Neopet deck. Next up In the Starry Akara deck, we have a whole bunch of code stones, 4 of each of AO, which is an attack, Mao, an attack as well, 4 Har, and 4 Orn for defense ones, and 4 Taikai for agility. In total, there are 20 code stones, which is admittedly a pretty high number, but it does feel a little bit not great when you are stuck with a hand of a lot of higher level requirement cards. And then we also have painted Neopets. So we have a Starry Akara foil, very nice, and the Starry Kachik foil. So these two, you can see that they have Starry underneath the name, and they also have the picture of the Starry paintbrush, which you get one foil copy of. So these are your Rainbow Pool Neopets, and they will go into your Rainbow Pool deck. You can have up to 10 cards in your Rainbow Pool deck, all of which are painted Neopets. And then your Neopet deck, you can have up to 5 different basic Neopets. And if you want, or they have to be different species. So you can't have a blue Akara or a yellow Akara in your same Neopet deck with a red Akara or a green Akara. You can only have 1 per pet species. And you can have up to 5. There are 3 rounds. It is a best of 3 format, so at most you will use 3 of your basic Neopets. So as said before, we have the Starry Paintbrush. Next up we have a Athia foil for your fairy. And then we have 2 foods. We have 1 hot dog and 1 Starry hot dog. And then potions, we have 4. All are 1 level requirement cards. For legends, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 1-cost legends and 2 2-cost legends. For equipment, we have 1 1-cost, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 2-cost equipment, and 4 3-cost equipment, and 4 4-cost equipment. And the cost is also, as I stated before, directly related to your Neopet codestone level. So how many codestones you have attached to your Neopet. So, I need to get those dice. Show off those, because those are very pretty. So we have our deck constructed, so we'll give this a shuffle. So when you first sit down, what you're going to do is you're going to separate your deck. So you have your cards that go in your deck, your Neopet deck, and your Rainbow Pool. To begin, you shuffle, plop it down into your deck. You draw 5 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You take a look at your hand, which is now your inventory. So what do we have? We have the 1 paintbrush in the deck right off the bat, which is fantastic. So we can immediately paint a pet, which is really good. And we have 2 codestones with a level 2 requirement card and a level 3 requirement card. So this is a really good hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep this hand. If you like, or if you don't like your hand rather, you can shuffle it back into your deck and draw 5 new cards. You can only do that once, and that is referred to as a mulligan in some other games. I'm not entirely sure that's what they're going to call it in this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the correct name. And what do we do next? So we've both looked at our hand, and we will then decide which Neopet that we're going to put out. So since this is the first match of the game, where both my opponent and I are going to pick a Neopet, we're going to put it face down, and then we will both reveal them at the same time. And this is after you've looked at your hand. Next, we will roll a die to see who goes first. So let's say the Starry Akara player got a 1, and then the Fire Uni rolls a star, which is a 6. And these dice are so beautiful. They're very glittery, very weighty once you have a couple of them, and I want to say they're a little bit oversized, but they probably are just the regular 16 millimeter. I'm probably a little crazy. Anyways, we have decided who is going first. So it will be the red player in this case, or my opponent. On the very first turn of the game, you cannot attack, but every other turn you must attack if able. So let's take a look at what actually happens. So let's say we are going first instead of my opponent. So what will happen? You will first draw a card, and then we will go into the train phase. So draw a card is draw a card from your deck, and that becomes a card in your inventory, which is also your hand. Next, we go to the train phase, which is you may equip one codestone, or sorry, attach one codestone to your active Neopet. So let's attach an Orin, and that just slides under the Neopet like so. So now we have +1 defense on our little friend. So that is everything in the training phase. Next, we go into the prep phase, the preparation phase. So this is when we play a card for turn. You are limited to one card per turn, not including a codestone or food. Food is special that you can play food at any time, and you can play as many as you want, provided you have enough to play. So for the one card per turn, what we're actually going to do is we're going to play our Athia Fairy. So in order to do that, we just pop her right into the fairy slot. So she is taking up our fairy slot. If we wanted to play another fairy, in this case, what would be physically impossible because there's only one fairy in the deck, we would first put Athia into the void, because that is where fairies go, as they are very, very strong effects. And then we could play our new fairy. Notably, the fairy does not have a level requirement, so even if I did not play a codestone, I could still put Athia down. So we will then go into the battle phase. If this is the first turn of the game, you do not actually battle your opponent. And then that is the end of your turn. Battling and rolling dice is the end of your turn. Next, we'll pass to your opponent, who will then do pretty much the exact same thing. They will draw a card, train, so attach a codestone, and then play a card for their turn, and then go into the battle phase. Next, we'll come back to us, and we'll draw a card, we'll train, put down a codestone. We have level 2 now, so on our prep phase, we can play this level 2 sturdy blue sword into our equipment 1 slot. And that gives our Kachik a +1 attack. So let's actually do an example of battle. So let's say we have this Kachik, this little friend, versus this blue Gellert, and let's give him a codestone or 2. Let's give him a Mao, and let's hold on to this Tai Kai for something else. So let's just have an example of blue Kachik attacking the yellow Gellert. So what happens here? We have 1, 2, 3 attacks, so we will roll 3 dice, and then our Gellert will have, I guess we could do red dice for the attack. That works. And then our Gellert has a defense of 3, so he will roll 3 dice. So let's give it a roll, see what we get. Okay. And, ooh, wow, okay. So 1, 2, and 3 are failures, so we can just remove those. And then 4, 5s, and 6s are successes. So in this case, we will have 2 attacks and 2 blocks. Next, we will compare the agility. So our blue Kachik has 5, and our yellow Gellert has 4. So this blue Kachik has 1 higher agility than the yellow Gellert, which means he can reroll 1 die. So we will do so. Ooh, we get a 6. Also the star symbol. So what happens? The 6 will automatically deal 1 damage, as it is a critical success. And there is no such thing as a critical block. So a critical hit, a critical success while rolling attack dice is 1 guaranteed damage. Next, we have 2 successes on the attacks and then 2 blocks. So each will cancel out, and what ends up happening is the Gellert will take 1 damage from the critical hit. Let's see what happens if we have, let's just go 2 Tai Kai codestones on this guy here, and then do we have a Mao? Yeah, we do. Okay. So let's have an example of the yellow Gellert attacking the blue Kachik in this fashion. So let's switch these dice around. We need 5 of each, it looks like. There we go. So the yellow Gellert will have a roll. Let's see what we get. So 1, 2s, and 3s are ignored because they are blocks. Oh my gosh, rolling pretty good here. So there's 1, 2, and 3 can just get removed, and then we compare our agilities. So what do we have? The yellow Gellert has a agility of 4. The blue Kachik has an agility of 5, 6, 7. So this means you can re-roll up to 2 dice, as that is the difference in their agility. Or sorry, re-roll up to 3 dice. 7 versus 4. We can do simple math here, I promise. Notably, during the reroll phase, you cannot reroll 1 die and then see the result and then re-roll the other die. You have to re-roll all die that you want to at once. So that was a very good re-roll. So what do we get? We have, let's see. Yep. Okay, so the yellow Geralt was attacking, so we have 1 critical hit. So this is 1 guaranteed damage, and then we have 3 regular hits. And the Kachik has 5 successful blocks in total. The 6s, the stars, do not count for a critical block. The Kachik will take 1 guaranteed damage, and the other attacks will be blocked. So that is a quick overview of how you play. Everything happens very straightforwardly. The potions, when you play it as the card for turn, you will resolve the effect, and then it will be discarded as opposed to staying out on the field. So let's use our example over here. So we have our Kachik with a sturdy blue sword, and on our turn we are playing the Lag Be Gone serum. Roll 1 die. On a success, your Neopet gains 3 agility this turn. So we will play this during our prep phase before moving into the battle step. And we will roll 1 die. We roll a 1, which is not a success, unfortunately, so the potion is immediately then discarded. What happens if we wanted to play a legend instead? Well, on our turn, for the 1 card per turn, on our prep phase, we can play the Bruce Avenger because we have a codestone level of 1. Or we have a level of 1 thanks to the 1 codestone. So what does the Bruce Avenger do? Draw 2 cards from your deck, then place 1 card from your inventory to the top or bottom of your deck. So we play this guy, we draw 2 cards. Ooh, look at that. Another potion. And let's say this is our inventory, so then we will put 1 card on either the top of our deck or put it on the bottom of our deck if we don't want to draw that card again. If we don't want to see it. If we have too many codestones in hand or something like that. So that's the potion, the legend, the equipment, the fairy. So that's every type. We have the codestones attached. So what happens if you want to play a paintbrush? So for our card per turn in the prep phase, our single card per turn, we will play the Starry Paintbrush. So what you do is you take your Kachik, your basic Neopet, and then add it to your Rainbow Pool deck and remove the relevant same species, Kachik, and version of Painted Pet. So the Kachik turns into a Starry Kachik because we played the Starry Paintbrush. The Starry Kachik will then go into the active Neopet zone, and the regular Kachik will stay in the Rainbow Pool zone. That is so that the mechanical reason for this is to limit you from picking the exact same species of pet for another game, as this is a best of 3. At the end of 1 round, so whoever is knocked out first, if this Kachik takes 10 damage, he will be knocked out. So let's say this happens. If the Kachik is knocked out, he will go face down in the round results area to indicate that he lost this round. If he was the one to successfully knock out the opponent Neopet, he will go face up to signify that you were victorious in this round. And then what will happen is, let's say we had the sturdy blue sword in play and the codestone attached to the pet. So that would be impossible because we need 2 codestones. 2 codestones, as the sturdy blue sword has a level requirement of 2. So at the end of the round, your Neopet goes into the round results zone, and then all equipment and codestones will go into the discard. If we had a fairy, where did she go? did she go? Oh, there she is. Way over there. If we had a fairy, the fairy would go into the void. And if we had these 5 cards in hand, we would keep these 5 cards in hand. We will not draw additional cards at all. We reset the board state, as it were. Reset the Battledome, empty the Battledome. And then the loser, the one who lost this round, will decide which pet they would like to start, the winner picks their pet and will put it face up, and then the loser of the round will then select their pet based on the pet that was chosen by the winner, and then they will place their pet in their active Neopet zone. And in order to, for who goes first in the second round, the loser will go first in the second round. And there is no restriction on no attacks on further rounds. It is only the very first turn of the game, not the very first turn of the rounds. So if we have this yellow alert, we can immediately attach a codestone, play this potion, and then we will attack with 4 dice instead of just 3. And it will be against your opponent's Neopet, which will have no codestones, no equipment, nothing. It will just be Neopet versus slightly better Neopet. So that is one way that the game will reward, or maybe not reward, but try to mitigate the going first versus not going first debate on if there is a advantage or not. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. That ended up being a lot longer than I was expecting, but I guess I do tend to ramble a little bit. Hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to leave that in the comments below. The next video I will probably just do an overview or review of a whole bunch of cards in the set and go into rules a little bit more in depth. There's a lot of more complicated cards in the boosters. The starter decks are designed to be very, very simple, very, very easy to learn and pick up and play. Yeah, the dice are fantastic. I wish they actually included like a spin down D20 so it would be easier to keep track of the life on the Neopets, but you can't have everything. Like even a D10, 3 D10s, I guess that would work. Yeah, 3 D10s, so you could spin them up and down to keep track of the agility that you're given from this equipment, the attack you're getting from this one, and all of your code stones. So it would just be easy to plop that right on your Neopet and keep track of it. Could just do an example of that, I guess, real quick here. Once I find my Neopet, I think I shuffled him into my deck. Oh, there he is. So yeah, if you had a couple of things out, you could just plop it right on the number, and then you don't have to do quick, easy, simple math, but you know, it's a first world problem, I suppose. Okay, anyways, wrapping it up. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll hopefully be able to answer them. Have a good one.